All right, wonderful. So, okay, so we're gonna begin. I thank you first of all because of your punctuality. Thank you very much for being so early. And well, I want to introduce myself first of all. My name is Carlos Oliveira, and I'm gonna be your teacher for the following weeks. I am going to be with you, immersing ourselves into a very good preparation for the TOEFL exam. And well, I just want to begin by saying that. Uh, right from the beginning, I am very, very honored and honestly very happy and I am privileged to be your teacher because well, I already admire you in the sense that this exam, it's something very challenging. It's something that it's certainly not for all kind of people. It's just for the people who really want to fulfill their dreams. This exam, it's definitely one of the best ways in order to get into universities around the world, in order to get a job. I don't know, a remote job maybe. Well, and there are a lot of obviously purposes for this exam, but many of them really have as a transcendental or final objective to fulfill dreams, right? And I think that you are definitely very much brave in order to begin with this preparation because, as I say, this exam is very challenging, but nevertheless, I assure you, as somebody who I have been in your shoes in the sense that I have been in this preparation by myself. I have, I prepared myself for taking this exam some years ago, and I know how stressing it can be. I know how difficult it can be to invest a lot of hours into this, but I assure you that the outcome, if you really practice a lot and if you absorb everything that we're going to learn in these classes, it's going to help you to fulfill that dream that this exam, I know it's going to be a means in order to achieve, right? So, well, let's begin first of all with, I'm going to share my screen with you. I have a presentation prepared for you, and we're going to today, as I detail more or less in the in the well in the WhatsApp group. It is not going to be, well, we're not going to begin with the classes themselves. Nevertheless, what we're going to do is basically to see some general aspects, right? Not just of our classes, but also of the company of executive English. And well, so just wanted to well, I just wanted to be with you, and let's begin. Okay, so well, as you can see, welcome to executive English as well. Well, we are a Bolivian enterprise, a company that was born in 2017, and to this point there have been more than 10,000 students trusting in us. And I think that throughout the years we have seen the results and so many people who have managed to achieve and attain those results that they wanted to have in this exam. So well, I really hope that you enjoy your participation in these classes, and I'm sure that you're definitely going to be able to learn and absorb a lot. Okay, so welcome. Now I want to always well recommend this as well because part of what the policies of executive English are, it's that we require our students to have their cameras on. Okay, it's very important to have our students with their cameras on because, well, we believe, right, as a company that if you have your cameras on, you're going to maybe maybe not very much consciously, but you're going to pay more attention and you're going to absorb more, right? So for next classes, please have this into consideration that it is a requirement to have your cameras on. And if you are, I mean, if you don't have the capacity or the ability to have your camera on for, I don't know, for some minutes or for some time, because maybe you are having troubles with your connection, or maybe you have, or you just arrived to your home, something like that, I am going to get you out of the reality just for a while, and then you're going to be able to enter again freely. Okay, you're going to have, as we had today, the link in the WhatsApp group. And if I, for example, get you out of the class just for some minutes, you can absolutely and freely and gladly get into again once you are able to have your camera on. Okay, so this is not a menace. It's just something, it's part of the policy, and that we really believe is going to be for your benefit. Okay, so remind that it's very necessary for you to have your cameras on. If you are not able to, I'm gonna ban you from the class just for a while, but then you're gonna be able to get into again. Okay, and I'm gonna be gladly to receive you again. Okay, so that's the first thing I wanted to say, and let's continue. Now, as you for sure have been informed already, the classes we're gonna have are going to be from Tuesdays to Fridays, right? But nevertheless, well, today it's just it's just a theoret, it's just an introduction. It's a class in which you're gonna learn all the general aspects, as I say. So this is not going to be repeated, okay? Our classes are going to be normally from Tuesdays to Fridays, okay? Okay, on Tuesdays, we are going to see and we are going to learn about the theory of the exam, okay? This exam, it's super tricky. It's super practical in a sense. You have to learn a lot of, I don't know, maneuvers and some tricks and some hacks that I'm gonna, of course, teach you. But nevertheless, there is some theory behind it as well. There is a lot of theory underlying the exam, because once you know the methods, once you know, for example, the types of questions you're going to receive in this exam, it's going to be way easier for you as well to respond to the questions once as well you receive all the material and the preparation for the exam. Okay, so we are going to, on Tuesdays and Thursdays, get the entire content on theoretical classes. And later, when we arrive to Wednesdays and Fridays, we're going to also know, well, we're going to learn actually more practical things. That is to say, we are basically going to practice everything we learned in the last class. If we are, for example, in the reading section, and on Tuesdays, for example, or on Tuesday, we have, for example, seen the entire theory of the reading section, what type of questions you should expect, how much time you're going to have for every single lecture, or how much time you're going to have for every single passage and things of that sort. On Wednesday, we're going to practice that. We're going to have a passage. I'm going to share it with you. You're going to read it, and we're going to have, of course, a simulation. Basically, we're going to practice this section, and we're going to try to apply everything we learned last class. Okay, and that is going to be exactly the same for Tuesdays, for Thursdays, and for Fridays as well. On Fridays, we're going to practice what we learned on Thursday, and so forth. Okay, so that is the modality we're going to follow: theoretical classes and practical classes, a combination, because as I say, both are very important. Once you know the theory, what is underlaying the exam, what is the structure, what is it, the method, or the understanding that ETS, that is the enterprise that organizes the exam, has, you're going to understand as when you're going to receive and apply the practical concepts way better. Okay, so that is the reason we are combining these theoretical and practical classes. All right, what else? Okay, so let's get into a little bit of super general information about the TOEFL. TOEFL is, somebody asks you someday, I don't know, means test of English as a foreign language. That is what TOEFL stands for. It is test of English as a foreign language. It's a very, very old exam, actually. The first time this exam was released by ETS was in 1964. So you're going to be part of a huge family when you take this exam first, or if you're taking it again, I don't know. You're part of a lot of people who really trust in this exam. And I think it's actually, by all factual information, the most required and the favorite exam for people who are not native speakers of English, of course, and want to nevertheless have their actual proficiency measured, right? So you are, of course, getting into a exam that is going to be accepted by any institution in the world. And okay, I just wanted you to know that. Okay, so now the TOEFL exam itself is divided into 3 versions, or in 13 modalities. Okay, so these 3 versions and modalities are the following. First of all, you have the IBT version, which is the internet-based test, as you can see, and this is probably going to be the one that you're going to take because it's the most common one. Now, the IBT version is basically that one in which you get into the ETS page, right? Of course, I'm going to teach you how to do that, how to enroll for the class, for how to register for the class, and stuff like that. We're going to learn it as well. But what is going to happen is that, the IBT version, it's that one in which you go to the ETS website, you get into your account, and also you look or search for some test centers in your city or the place you're living in right now. And once you are in the website, you of course have to choose one of those test centers, which are most of the time they are universities or some sort of center that has a relationship with the American embassy or some relationship with the English exam. ETS has its own criteria in order to determine what building or what specific institution could be a test center. But nevertheless, there are a lot of, in every city. For example, if you live in Bolivia, if you live in, I don't know, if you live in other country, in Peru and Chile, it's gonna be exactly the same. Okay, it's just you're gonna test. You're gonna choose a test center, and what you're gonna do after that is basically to confirm your participation. And what you're gonna do is once the due time arrives, you're gonna go to that test center and you're gonna receive, well, you're gonna, people who are members, staff members from ETS are going to receive you. They're going to get you into a computation room. And once you get into it, you're gonna have your own computer and you're gonna, of course, take your exam before that computer, with that computer, using all the devices, the material that they are going to offer you. So you don't have to worry about anything else than enrolling for that specific version, okay? Good evening to the students who are getting into right now. We're just basically having a overview of the general aspects of this exam. As you can see, TOEFL means or stands for a test of English as a foreign language. And there are some versions and modalities of this exam as well. The first one is the IVT, that is the internet-based test. That is the most common one. As I said, you have to enroll in ETS and you have to choose a test center in your city, in the place you're living in. You go to that test center when the due time arrives, and people are going to receive you, staff members. They're going to give you a computer, and they're going to give you as well material, sheets of papers. They're going to give you as well pencils, pens, whatever you need, of course, to take your notes. They're going to be there. For example, if you have some sort of trouble with your computer, there are going to be people going throughout the room the entire time in order to check on the participants and to know, of course, if they are not cheating on the exam, something like that, of course. So, well, it's going to be basically that, right? You're going to go to that test center and you're going to have your exam there, right? But of course, there's other modality, that is the PVT, the paper-based test modality of the TOEFL exam, which is a version which you do exactly the same. You go to the ETS, you choose your test center, etc. But the difference is that in this case, you're not actually taking your exam through a computer or using a computer, but you're taking it on paper. That is to say, you are writing down your responses with your own hands. You are, for example, recording your audios with older devices rather than a computer. I mean, it's exactly the same in the material and the content of the exam, but the means of giving it, the means of taking it, it's completely different. Okay, it's, as I say, it's a paper-based test, but nevertheless, you are completely free to choose. You can freely choose whatever modality suits you the most, and you can definitely think about it. You can take a moment to meditate what version it's most suitable for you. But of course, I think that the most common and the most convenient ones for us who are living in the 21st century, it's the internet-based test, right? Actually, the PBT version, it's just for mostly for countries who have no access to internet, right? To do not have buildings or institutions in which internet is available in order to have this exam, right? The IVT version, but is of course a matter of your preference, okay? And there's actually a third version that is the home edition, as you can see here. And the home edition, it's basically the same than the IVT, if you remind, the internet-based test. And of course, you're going to, the only difference is that you're not going to go to any test center, but you're going to take your exam using a computer, but your own computer, and at home. You're going to have the exam, you're going to take it at home. But of course, there's going to be somebody from the staff member observing you, looking at you through your web account. And of course, you're gonna have some changes in the modality or some changes in the way you're gonna take notes. Yeah, mainly it's gonna be more about that, about how you take your notes, in what material can you write down your responses, and stuff like that is gonna be different, but the content and you know the sensation of the exam is gonna be the same, right? Because you are taking it through a computer, but nevertheless you're at home, right? So this modality began from the pandemic. Since the pandemic began, ETS decided that it was a good idea to implement this specific modality, and that is the way we have it right now. But as I say, it's a matter of your preference. You can take whatever you want, whatever modality you think suits you the most. It's the one you should definitely choose. Okay. So ETS, but ETS, as you can see, it's basically the company that organizes, that prepares, that delivers, and basically has entire control about or above the exam. It's ETS. ETS is a company that is super famous. Maybe you have known, for example, of other products or other examinations of ETS, for example, the GRE, the graduate report examination, a very important exam and tests to take if you want to apply to graduate programs abroad in, of course, English speaker countries, and the SAT as well. If you are, for example, a college student, somebody who is applying to colleges in America and Europe, you of course know about the SAT, and in ETS, of course, is involved as well with those exams. Okay, just for your consideration. All right. So, is there any question about whatever I have said until this point? Maybe you want me to repeat something in Spanish? Please tell me. I'll do it gladly. Is there any question about whatever I have said until this point? Anything you want me to clarify? Or we're fine? No questions? All right.
Yes, I have a question.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if you know the ITP TOEFL test, and can you tell the difference between the IBT and ITP, or kind of that, please?
Oh, yeah, for sure, for sure. Why not? With pleasure. So as you can see, the different or the three different versions of the exam, of a TOEFL exam, it's IBT, which is you go to ATS, to that website, you register, you enroll to the exam, you choose a test center, which is a building, an institution that is associated with ATS. When the due time arrives, you go to that test center, and staff members from ETS are going to receive you. They're going to get you into your room, a computation room, of course, and you're going to take your exam using a computer. Okay, you're going to have the entire devices. You're going to have a keyboard, your CPU, your screen, everything, right? You're going to have as well your headphones, and the people who are going to be there, the staff members, they're going to as well hand you over all the material you're going to need. They're going to give you sheets of papers, pencils, pens, everything. Okay, so the only thing you have to worry in this modality about, it's simply registering, enrolling into the exam, and once the due time arrives, you go to this test center and you take it. Okay, and the difference with this version and the PVT version, the paper-based test, it's basically that the PVT version, it's exactly the same, because you have to choose a location, you have to choose a test center, but nevertheless, you're not going to take the exam using a computer, but using basically paper, right? You're going to write down your responses on paper. You're going to have another type of devices in order to record your voice, your audios for the speaking section, for example. But the content is going to be exactly the same, okay? And the PVT version, the scoring system varies a little bit, but nevertheless, it's exactly the same criteria in order to evaluate your performance, okay? So, and the third version, the difference between the third version and the IVT, for example, the third version is the home edition. It's simply that, well, in this case, you're going to use a computer, of course, you're going to enroll, etc. But nevertheless, you're not going to go to a test center. You're going to take your exam from your own home, at home. That is to say, with your own computer, using your own headphones, in your own room, maybe with more silence. Of course, that is possible. And of course, some things are going to vary, especially in the taking notes system. That is to say, they're not going to allow you to have sheets of normal or common sheets of papers in order to take the notes. You're going to be required to use some boards in which you use erasable markers in order to write down your notes and your responses. But nevertheless, as I say, the content continues to be the same. And those are the difference between these three modalities. Is it clear? Or maybe you have another doubt?
Yeah, I was unsure about something.
Yeah, for sure.
Between the IBT and the, you said that the IBT is the one you recommend, and I want to know, it's like there's like only one center or test center in each country, or it depends, or probably you in the presentation it says in Cochabamba, probably there might, I don't know if there is some in La Paz or something like that.
Yeah, of course. Thank you very much, Miguel. So yes, I mean, of course, there are a lot of test centers. There's not just one for every single country. For example, in Bolivia, I'm aware that in 3 different departments there are centers. In La Paz, there are a lot. You have, for example, the CBA. You have a lot of universities in Cochabamba as well. You have universities, actually some high schools as well, I think, offer it. And in Santa Cruz, it's exactly the same. Here you have the CBA. You have as well, for example, UTEPSA, one university, right? And as it is the same for every single country in the world, there are a lot of test centers. And the only thing you have to worry about is just to check it out. That is to say, when you are registering for the exam, when you're enrolling yourself through the ETS website, you have to, of course, make sure that that specific test center is going to have an available exam for the specific date you want to apply, right? Or the specific date you want to take the exam. So that is my recommendation, or that is the clarification. Of course, I recommend this version in the sense that it is, I think, that the most beneficial one, in the sense that if you have some sort of trouble with your connection at home, for example, if you're taking the home edition, there's no way to help you, right? Because that is a personal problem. It's a private problem, because the internet, it is a matter of your own organization and of your own consideration. Nevertheless, in these test centers, when you are having the IVT version, they of course have a very good internet. They of course, as I say, they have a lot of staff members checking everything out, making sure that people are correctly taking the exam. So you have somebody to complain about, you have somebody to help you. Nevertheless, if you are taking the home edition, well, you don't have anybody to go and require for help. And of course, if something goes wrong with this specific modality, you're going to have to repeat the exam. So I definitely recommend the IVT version. Nevertheless, as I say, it's something of your consideration. If you believe that the home edition is better for you, of course, go for it. It's actually a very convenient one for people who do not want to go out because of the pandemic. And you know, it has some advantages as well, of course. No matter you're alone, you're at home, maybe that gives you more security, that makes you to be more comfortable. I don't know, right? It's your own consideration there. But yeah, is it clear?
Okay, thanks. Yes, it is.
Wonderful. So good evening as well to the other student who got into. So well, we're explaining the different modalities of the TOEFL IVT version, of the TOEFL exam, excuse me. You have the IVT version, go into a test center, take it through a computer. You have the home edition, that is taking the exam through your own computer. And you have the paper-based test, which is basically the same content, the same material, but nevertheless, you're not using a computer to take your exam, but you're taking your exam and having all your responses written on paper, okay? So those are the differences between these modalities, among these modalities actually, because there are 3 of them. And well, we're gonna continue now, okay? So why should you take the TOEFL? Maybe, of course, this is a little bit redundant. Nevertheless, well, it's of course I would say a very important thing to mention, that this exam, it's something that it's being used around the world in order to apply to different locations and to different positions, right? Maybe, for example, you want to study in a specific academic institution. Maybe you want to, for example, get into, I don't know, you want to go to Harvard, you want to go to Yale in the United States, you want to go to Oxford in England. Well, it's the same, right? You can use the TOEFL exam in order to be accepted into any university of the world. There's no single university who is going to reject your exam. I mean, if you take it, if you want to apply for any university in Europe or America in which English is the main language, they're not going to reject your exam. They're going to value it. They're going to value it, and they're going to appreciate it, because it's a very good way to measure your actual proficiency in this language, okay? You also can use it in order to apply to scholarships. You can use it to get a job. Maybe you want to have a remote job. Maybe you want to work for a British company. Of course, if you present a very good TOEFL score, that is going to give you a lot of advantage before, or if you are competing against other applicants, if you are competing against others, workers or people who want to have that position, this is going to help you as well, of course. Okay, so those are the reasons why you should take this exam. Now, of course, I want to know you a little bit more. Let's get to know each other. I want to know actually why I said that you have this dream, or what is it that is, what is that specific dream you want to fulfill through having this exam? Maybe you want to, as I said, apply to any American university, to European universities. Maybe you want to get a job. Why are you taking it? I want to know, for example, I want to know, do you need a specific score in the test? Maybe you have to polish in a specific section a little bit more with you, which we're going to be able to do it. I want to, as I say, know a little bit about you, okay? And I'm going to begin, of course, so you can know me a little bit. I have prepared um, a slide here for you to know a little bit about me. Well, my name is Carlos Andres Oliveira, and I am from Bolivia. And well, I have experience in this exam. As I said at the beginning, I have been in your shoes. I know what it said to be concerned about how your performance is going to be in this exam. I spent innumerable nights studying for this. I wrote innumerable quantities of essays for preparing myself for this. And well, I had two experiences with this exam. The first time I took it was in 2020, and I got 100 out of 120. 120 is the maximum score you can get in this specific exam. And I got 100 in 2020, and in 2021 I took it again. And I actually was required to have a higher score, so I strive way more than last year. And well, thank God I was able to get 110. And those are my experiences with this exam. And well, and on the right side, you can maybe know a little bit about me. I have been an American scholar, in the sense that I have received a lot of scholarships from the American Embassy here in Bolivia. I've been a youth ambassador. Maybe you have heard about this program. I received the opportunity to travel to America, sponsored by the American Embassy. I was there for a month. I had the opportunity to be a cultural envoy. I had the opportunity to make a lot of friends in America. I fulfilled my dream, actually, going to America through that scholarship. I am somebody who is in love with America. I actually, I think I have a lot of depth towards America, because America has invested a lot of in my person. So I love that country very much. And well, another things or other experiences in my life, I've participated in a lot of summits, of international programs. I have my own ONG, for example, which is Name Book Cubers. Currently working on Bolivia, trying to help especially the youth from Bolivia, young people, to get rid of procrastination. Procrastination is wasting time. And yeah, that's very much, you can see all the things there. I am a law and system engineering student, and also I am a professional speedkeeper. And if you don't know maybe what speedkeeper means, is somebody who has a very high attraction for this specific puzzle. Maybe you have heard about it. Maybe you have tried to solve it in some opportunity in your life. This is a Rubik's Cube. And well, I am basically in love as well with this puzzle. I practice this discipline from, I think, well, from since I was something like 12 years old. So I am somebody who goes to the competitions. I spend a lot of time practicing as well with it. I do that on my free times. Well, as you can see, it's something that is part of my life. And probably if you find me someday on the street, I'm gonna be practicing as well and having this on my hands. Okay, so well, I just want to say that about me. That is pretty much some information about me. And well, I now want to know a little bit more about you. I maybe could know, for example, about Miguel. Miguel, could you please introduce yourself? Tell me a little bit about you. Maybe what do you study? Why is it that you want to take the TOEFL exam? How much would you like to get? Please begin, Miguel.
Okay. Hello, everyone. I'm Miguel Silva. I'm from Bolivia too. I'm from La Paz, and yeah, actually, this is the second semester of my of the university. I'm studying engineering on mechatronics. I mean, and yeah, I wanted to take these tests because it's like there are two things that can answer that. First of all, is like I know I currently know English, but not as well as I did before, and I want to achieve the goal of taking the test of this test, because it's like one goal that I wanted since like 4 years ago, and that's it. And the other thing is that I'm planning on studying another country probably, and this is one of the things that are needed And yeah, it's like that. And yeah, I also like this language. I really loved when I just learned more and more. And that would be a summary.
Well, thank you very much, Miguel. It's very good to know that you are well using this exam in order to push you out a little bit to recover your skills, maybe your past level in this beautiful language. That you say it's something that if you don't practice it, certainly you're gonna forget it. But great, I think that definitely this is going to demand a lot of you, and because you're gonna be practicing for this and immersing into the different sections of this exam, you're definitely gonna be able to not only to recover your language level, but I think to improve it. And I am very positive about that. Okay, so thank you very much, Miguel. All right, so let's move on. Laura, Laura Choque, please could you introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about you. Um, why is it that you want to take the exam? Would you like to have a specific score? Please tell us.
Sure. Could you show the questions, please? I forgot.
Well, I mean, well, yes. Let's. You can talk about whatever you want about you, but yes, there you have the questions.
Oh, I know. Okay. Hey everyone, my name is Laura Choque. I'm 18 years old, and I'm studying mechatronic engineer too. I really love that part of the um, engineer. I mean, so but I always wanted to like apply to an a university both out there, and yeah, that's why I would just want to take the TOEFL test, and when I want to like notice if I'm be able to get a I don't know a good score for applying, and if not, then and that I also love sports. I really love to play volleyball and basket, and then I I like the language. I especially love how people like speak. It's
Mhm.
interesting, and yeah, that's why I love to learn this language. And I have a question about the TOEFL. Uh, by the
Yeah.
way, what are the like the scores
Mhm.
for, or if there's I don't know an average score for applying to a specific university, or what the universities search the most, and or something like that. And that's
Yeah.
all. Thank
Of course, Laura. Thank you very much, first of all, for your introduction. It's a pleasure to have you here. Well, with regard to your question, actually, I think that I am very aware of the topic or the thing of the question itself, because I was myself applying to American universities last year, so I am very much acquainted with what type of requirements they have for specifically for for Latin American students, because you are when you are applying to American universities specifically, you're not competing like against the entire world, but they have like a specific niche for Latin American students. And well, they are very competitive. As you know, the American universities are the best universities in the world. So you're going to be competing against the best people from Latin America. And I would say that, well, it depends. As you said, for any specific university, there's no like general or agreed score in which you could say, for example, if you get this, you're going to get into the university. Because actually, when you're applying to American universities, it's like there are a lot of different criteria that they use in order to determine if you want to, or I mean, if you're going to get into, if they're going to offer you admission. Nevertheless, for example, in order to give you some sort of illustration, I don't know if you know, for example, about let's say Emory University. Maybe you have heard about it. Emory University is like a good university in America, and they require at least 95. And for example, if you're talking about like the Ivy League in America, the student Harvard, Yale, Princeton, stuff like that, they at least expect from you something above 105, at least. I mean, if you have something better than that, great.
you. But what's the top score?
I mean, you can have the maximum score is 120.
Yeah.
Mhm.
120. Okay.
Yeah, 120, of course, yes. So it's from 0 to 120, but I think that nobody gets 0, but of course it's from 0 to 120. That is the maximum score you can have. So as I say, the best institutions are always going to wait or spec for something above 105. Nevertheless, if you have something less than that, there are a lot of other options, institutions who are going to gladly receive that as part of your application, right? Because as I say, if you're going to apply for American universities specifically, the the English test score is not going to be the only thing they are going to consider. They are going to consider a lot of other things. Okay, so but in order for you to have an idea, it's more or less that. All right, so thank you very much, Laura. All right, so and finally, I want to know as well a little bit about Claudia. Claudia, could you please introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about you.
Okay, hello. My name is Claudia. I am an industrial engineer. This is the second time that I'm going to take the TOEFL. I took it a long time ago because I studied English while I was at high school, and once I finished high school, I took the test and I did well, but it's been, I don't know, I think like 5 or 6 years since that, so I'm going to take it again. I want to take the test in order to apply to a master degree. And there's a program about logistics that's only in English, and I want to take that MBA. So that's why I'm going to take the test again. I think I had said that several times. I'm sorry.
No, don't worry.
That's all.
Well, thank you, Claudia, very much. Yes, as I said, the TOEFL exam, it's useful if you want to apply not only for undergraduate programs, as for example, I think it's the case for Laura, but if you want to apply to graduate programs as well, the TOEFL exam remains as the as the most required and valued exam around the world. Okay, so very, very good decision to take it again. And well, we're gonna work so that your score, in comparison with the last one, it must improve. Okay, so thank you very much for sharing that with us. You're definitely gonna improve very much your score. Okay, I'm very positive about that as well. So thank you very much, guys. It's been very good to get to know you a little bit more. We're gonna be seeing us every single day for the for the following weeks, from, as I say, from Tuesdays to Fridays. So it's very good to have a very good glance of what you want to do. So as I said, I think that I am having a very, very good material here, human material to teach to. So I'm very, very, very glad that you have decided to be part of this course. Okay, so thank you very much. Let's continue then in order to get into information more related to the exam itself now. So for example, Laura was asking about the maximum score. Maybe you were not acquainted with it. The maximum score is 120, as I said. And well, in this case, for example, also want to comment a little bit on the structure or the divisions of the exam. Okay, for those of you who are not bit acquainted with it. First of all, you're gonna begin with the reading section. That is going to be from 60 to 80 minutes. And well, the reason why this varies a little bit is the following. Okay, I want you to know this. Sometimes, specifically in the reading and the listening section, ETS launches some sort of, this is like a practice test, in the sense that it is an experimental addition to the proof itself, that is going to basically require you to, if you have, for example, in the reading section, if you have read and if you have responded to 3 different passages about academic topics and stuff like that, if you receive the experimental version of the reading section, ETS is going to augment, or is going to add another reading passage and another series of questions in order for you to respond. Okay, So that is the scenario, or a possible scenario, if you're in the reading and in the listening passage, or excuse me, in the reading and in the listening section. That is the reason why these times vary a little bit, okay? You're gonna have sometimes, of course, the normal version that is not the experimental one. And in that case, you're gonna have just 60 minutes or 1 hour in order to complete the entire section. And if you receive the experimental one, they are of course going to give you extra time in order for you to solve it, right? So whenever you receive this experimental version, that is, as I said, just an extra material, just an extra passage, an extra series of questions or set of questions, you just do that, you just solve it without any type of fear nor preoccupation. Why? Because this specific experimental version is not going to affect your score. That is to say, if you, for example, because this experimental addition, it's something that sometimes is a little bit out of the format. And what is going to happen is that if you are not, performing very well at that experimental version, that is not going to affect your actual score. Why? Because, as I say, this experimental version, this extra material, is not actually part of the considerations or the material that they are going to use in order to punctuate your performance. But this is just a matter of help or a guidance to the ETS itself. Why? Because they want to make sure if the new additions and the new plans they have for the exam are working out, if they are proving, for example, a new format, they are gonna have a very good glance and idea or of how is that going to perform and how is that going to affect the exam through your help, that is to say, through your responses on this specific experimental, okay, addition. But this is something that you may receive or that you may not receive, okay? And if you receive it, as I say, you just do it, you solve the specific additions you're gonna receive, and don't worry if you don't worry about, for example, oh, if I get this, I'm going to get a worse score because that is going to be more difficult. No, I mean, if you receive this, they are not going to take that into consideration in order to, as I said, to punctuate you or to get you, I mean, to give you a score. No, they're not going to use it. They're just basically requesting your help in this case, okay? As they are helping you, you're going to help them in order to, well, to know if their exam is going pretty well, if there is something to change, some addition to make, you're going to help them, okay? And the same is going to be for the listening section. You're going to have from 60 to 90 minutes. Maybe, for example, you receive the experimental version, and if you receive it, of course, you're going to have 90 minutes. If you don't receive the experimental version, you are going to have just 60 minutes, okay? So if you receive in any of these sections the experimental version, don't worry, don't be afraid. Just do it, just solve it. Of course, we're going to learn how to approach each specific section. But if you receive this experimental one, you just do it without any type of regard and fear, as I say, okay? After you have finished these two specific sections, you're gonna have 10 minutes of break, okay? You're gonna be able to get out of the room because everything you brought with you, I mean, you bring with you when you are in your actual day of the exam, you're gonna leave it out of the room. You're gonna have, of course, people watching for it. Nobody's going to rob you anything. But as I say, the staff members are not going to let you get into with any type of liquid, with any type of food. You're not going to be able to get into with any type of material of your own, but they are going to, as I said, render you with all the necessary material for you to have the exam. Okay, so everything you're going to let it outside. So when you go out for a break, you're going to be able to, for example, if you brought with you some water bottle, you drink water, you eat something, I don't know, whatever, you're going to have your 10 minutes of break, right? After that, you come back, you are going to have your speaking section, which is going to be just 20 minutes. There are 4 tasks in this section. It's going to last for no more than 20 minutes. So this is not something in which there's a possibility of having the experimental version. No, here there's no experimental version at all. So this is always going to be 20 minutes, okay? And it's the same case for the writing section, 50 minutes. It's the maximum, it's the top of the duration of this specific section. So you're going to have 50 minutes in order to write 2 essays. Of course, we're going to get into that once we arrive to that specific section in our classes. Okay, so don't worry about how to do it. Don't worry about what is going to happen in that specific section. This is just a super general overview of how is this going to look like. Okay, so if you make your calculations, this is going to be 2.5 hours, 3 hours at maximum. Okay, so you have to prepare in order for you to reserve this day when you're going to have your exam. The exam is going to long about, as I said, 2 hours and a half, 3 hours, taking into consideration if you receive the experimental version, any type of delay, please have into consideration and in mind that you're going to have as more or less 2 hours and a half and 3 hours of exam. Okay, it's a very long exam. You're going to have to struggle against nerves. You're going to have to struggle against, for example, tiredness. But nevertheless, I think that through all the preparation and the practice you're going to get, of course, you're going to be able to beat it. Okay. So any question about the structure here or not? Okay, this is very, very easy. So don't worry. Okay, so the last thing I wanted to comment with you before we finalize this class, it's how our calendar is going to work. That is to say, how is it that our classes are going to be organized. Okay, so as you can see here, for example, we are going to have 6 classes. I mean, excuse me, 6 weeks of classes. All right. In every single week, we're going to have a specific thing in order for us to immerse into, or in order for us to study. Okay. For example, for the first week, we're going to have writing 1, 2. For another week, we're going to have reading. That is to say, we're going to practice just for the reading section. In another week, we're going to practice and learn just for the listening section. In other week for the speaking one, and so forth. Okay, so what is going to be the specific situation for you right now? In this case, you're gonna get directly into the week number 5. Why? Because of course there are other students who are already having this program, they are already having these courses, and you're going to of course be classmates of them in the week number 5. You're going to join me and these other classmates tomorrow into the week number 5, in the sense that tomorrow we're going to begin to study and learn about the speaking number 2 and 3, how to approach the speaking number 2 and 3. And of course, next week for you is going to be the speaking 4 and writing 1. And of course, after that happens, after you have all that preparation in the speaking 4 and writing 1, you are going to move on directly to the week number 1 with the writing 1, number 2, week number 2, reading, listening, and the rest. Okay, so the thing I want you to know and to have very clear is that you're going to have all the weeks. Okay, you're going to have the entire preparation. The only thing that is going to go right here is just that you are beginning in the week number 5. Nevertheless, you're going to be rolling, right? We're going to continue later with the number 6, with the week number 6, and after we finish the week number 6, many of your classmates are going to get out of the classes, because until that point maybe they have already finished, but nevertheless you're going to continue, right? Because you have got it in the week number 5. Nevertheless, you're going to continue, right? You're going to go to the week number 1, number 2, number 3, and so forth. Okay, so this is going to be rolling, as I say, but you're going to have the entire topic, the entire structure, the entire preparation. You're going to have it. Okay, is there any question about this, how this is going to work? Any question about this specific part?
So the last week will be like week 4, speaking 1.
Yeah, exactly. In your case, the last week is going to be a speaking 4, in which you're going to learn about the speaking 1. Okay, but as I say, you're going to receive the entire preparation. You're going to have classes for every single topic, for every single theme. The only thing is that you're going to begin with the week number 5. Okay, but it's not going to be a huge difference at all. Why? Because, well, as I say, every single topic or every single thing is separated from the other. That is to say, the speaking 2 and 3 has no relationship whatsoever with the speaking 1. So you're going to get into the class tomorrow, and everything I'm going to say for you and for your older classmates who are already taking the courses, it's something new. They have never heard about it. You have never heard about it. So it is not going to be that problem of, oh, I was not in that week and therefore I cannot comprehend this. No, everything is new. Everything, every single week, it's a completely new material, new information, new approaches, new techniques. So don't worry, okay? That is going to be the operation system in this case. Any other question about this? No other question? Okay, wonderful. So finally, something that is part of our services as Executive English is that you're going to have the opportunity to have personal calls with me. What we're going to do in this personal calls, it's basically to have, as I say, 12, 15 minutes calls with me. And what we're going to do is to practice 2 or 4 the speaking section. You're going to have a Zoom meeting with me of 15 minutes alone. You're going to have the opportunity to have 12 of these 15-minute calls with me. And what we're going to do in this course, it's simply, as I said, to practice for the speaking section. I have, well, here in Executive English, we have a Magoosh Premium account, and we're going to use that website in order to practice for the speaking section, just as it is going to be in the actual exam. That is to say, exactly the same times, the same format, or with the idea or with the objective that you are very well acquainted with that specific section, let's say the speaking section. Why? Because this is, in opinion of many people, and I think in my opinion too, the most difficult section of them all, because, well, you have to not only struggle against time, you have very few seconds in order to respond to every single task in the section, but it's also the problem that you're going to have to deal with people who are speaking at the same time with you. Because the test center, if you're taking the IVT version, you're going to have to share that with other people, right? Other test takers. So there are a lot of details and things to consider, and we're going to practice for this. This is completely part of the course. You don't have to pay any extra fee for this. Just please make sure to contact or to get in touch with Ruth. You have already probably got in touch with her. She's the coordinator of our courses with me. So she is in the group. Ruth is the person you have to contact, to get in touch with, in order to know how to reserve this 12-15 minute calls with me. And once you know how to do it, please reserve. There are some specific times in which you're going to be able to reserve that time with me. And whenever you want, I'm going to be glad to share that time with you and to help you to improve for this specific section. That is to say, the speaking one. Okay? Any question about this? Maybe you want me to clarify something? Or is it clear? Wonderful. I guess it's clear. Okay. So as you can see, that's all actually. This was a very, very good time, the one that I had with you. I am, as I said, very honored to be with you. And so please remind tomorrow, it's very important for you to have your cameras on. Part of the policies of Executive English is we really require you to have your cameras on. If you are not going to be able for some minutes in the class, I will be obligated to get you out of the class just for a moment. And once you are able to have your camera on, you're going to be able to come back freely whenever you want through the WhatsApp link that I'm going to always let you receive before we begin our classes. Okay, so please have into consideration this for tomorrow class. And well, that's all. Maybe there's any question about whatever you want to know, or maybe you want to leave, and tomorrow we're going to start with the real stuff, with the real preparation. Any question? Any commentary? No? All right. I guess no. Okay, so thank you very much for your attendance today. As I say, I am very honored to be your teacher. Please join me tomorrow at the same time. We're going to begin with the speaking section. You're going to have a very good time with me learning about that section. Okay, so thank you very much for your time and have a good night. All right.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you. Good night. Bye-bye.